Hello friends and welcome to Pathologic, Volume 11, Episode 34. Today we are doing another bonus puzzle, and it is a creek. The first time we saw this in this volume, it wasn't all that difficult, and it is quite a simple rule set, so I'm curious whether a bonus puzzle ramps the difficulty up a lot or just a little bit. But we'll find out together, and first we will take another look at the rules. In Creek, we shade some cells so that the remaining unshaded cells form one orthogonally connected area. Orthogonally connected means that from any one cell in the area, we can get to any other cell in the area by traveling horizontally and vertically through that area. And a clue represents how many of the up to 4 cells it touches are shaded. So simply this 0 has no shaded cells among these 4. This 3 has 3 out of the 4 shaded. And this 2 on the edge is these 2 specifically, because there are only 2. Those are the rules of Creek, so it's time to solve a puzzle. This bonus Creek puzzle was set by Tyrgannus. We have a couple givens. Got a 4 and a couple zeros. So that's a nice place to start. And this 3 becomes given because of this known cell. Also, 2's on the edges will be known quantities. That might be it for that layer of reasoning. So next, there's a pattern that I believe we covered last time we saw this. It's obvious to me right now, I just don't know whether we talked about it before or not, of the 1, 3 next to each other. And we see that repeated in this grid. That should be doable every single time, because if we have 3 out of these 4 shaded, that means that at least one of these must be shaded. And if we have only one of these 4 shaded, that means at most one of these 4 is shaded. So that gives us an exact number there, which forces these 2 shaded, these 2 unshaded. That's the only way we're going to get these 2 happy. And that will just repeat itself in the other situations where we have a 3, 1 adjacent to one another, like so. Okay. Then we're probably going to start looking at the connectivity. Unshaded cells are all connected, so these need to get out through this gap, which will finish off the 1. It finishes off this 1 as well. I'm tempted to unshade this because so many of these genres don't allow 2x2s, but this isn't one of them, so we don't know anything about that yet. Well, actually, the fact that... Ooh, this is interesting. The fact that there are no circles touching this cell means that in order for the answer to be unique, this will either have to be forced to be shaded because we can't reach it from the connected area, or forced to be unshaded in order to connect to other areas. That's probably more of a how would I design one of these things than how to solve one of these things, but something to keep in mind. Rather than scan for the easiest things, I'm just going to go around the grid and look for interesting things. This 3 out of these 4 need to be shaded. This must be one of them, because if not, this unshaded cell couldn't connect to the rest of the grid. And this is actually the same, because if this were unshaded, it would need to escape this way, which is fine so far, but then can't go any further because of this 3. So that's shaded. And therefore, this is shaded, because if it's unshaded, where does it go? It can't go into here because of the 3. So that becomes shaded. That's kind of interesting. Along the edge, we get some restriction there. A 3 in a corner, 3 in the spotlight. This can't be unshaded, because then where would it go? Nor can this, because this is already shaded, so it would have to go this way, not allowed. So it's one of these 2. Then, so the answer to my pondering in the intro is how much harder could this get is a fair degree, because the puzzle I did before was almost a write-in. I felt the whole way. This one's gonna have to be shaded because otherwise it's trapped by these three and these three. Just making little observations where I can, rather than anything methodical in this. Let's see. Could we connect this to this through here? We could. I want cases where the connectivity is going to be broken, definitely broken. This is one. This is one. Okay. So we can't have the unshaded cells go through here because that would require two of these to be unshaded. So while that doesn't tell me how this is disposed, it means that whichever cell of these two is unshaded, it doesn't connect out through this gap. It has to come through here, which gives me this whole tunnel. And that then will give me the 3, gives me the 1, gives me this 2. That did a lot of work. Then this can't go around here to connect. We don't know which of these is unshaded, but whichever one's shaded will block this one. So this is going to have to come through here. Then, again, uniqueness tells me that this is unshaded. If this were shaded, this would be unshaded, which is fine. But then we would necessarily be able to flip those two. I'm not going to use that as the solution, but I would use it when setting, and it might inform me in where I look for the next deduction, because since I know this must be unshaded to be unique, that means this one's going to have to be shaded in order to force that. So what breaks if I unshade this one then? What will break will be connectivity for these. That's what it's going to be. There's going to be a reason we can't escape from here out to the outside world, which probably means these two are going to end up both being shaded. This is a lot of working backwards. Probably not where I'm supposed to be looking, but just kind of stream of consciousness here. So let's think about the center. Can we do anything with the center? These are all low numbers, which is probably not good for the purpose of making any deductions. Because when you have a lot of unshaded things, the connectivity, it doesn't become helpful. Oh, here we've got the same thing we did up here. So this 3 is going to block these from getting out this way. So they've got to get out through here. And that gives us what this 3 does. We have to continue there. And something happens up here. Don't know. These are going to have to keep escaping this way. So it's either going through these two or these two. If it's these two, then they would have to go here next, and then they're blocked off. So it's these two. Hopefully I'm making sense when I say that. Then what? I don't know. That was good, but not enough. This is going to have to be shaded because this now blocks one side, and we would be blocked in if that were unshaded. So it's one of these, and I believe I know it's not this one because of the stuff I was saying over here. But again, that was using uniqueness, which I try not to do. Let's see. We've got 1 out of 2 here, but this number isn't large enough to make that useful. This 3 feels like it should be important. This 3 we're using for this part. Where am I missing it? Yeah, it's probably something screamingly obvious that I just can't get my eyes on. And what's it going to be? Looking around, there's just something I haven't notated correctly or something. We can't have much shaded here. We certainly haven't forgotten any rules because there basically aren't any rules. We've got numbers for number of shaded cells, and we've got connectivity of unshaded cells only. So, what would block the connectivity? Or what adjacent numbers? I feel like it's probably something in the middle. It's just that if it is something in the middle, like these numbers, they're too close together to in value to do much of interest with them. Okay, so I think I know that this must be shaded in order to force a value here, and there needs to be connectivity down here to make that important. There needs to be a break of connectivity. Okay, so I'm going to actually go into trial mode, which I don't do often, but I just want to mark that I'm starting there, because I believe this to be false. So if that's unshaded, what happens? We shade those. We've got to go up here. I mean, nothing happens. Not anytime soon. It really doesn't seem like that's going to do anything for me. Okay, so further revision to what I said in the beginning is it's a lot harder than the version that we had before. Okay, up here then. We proved that we can't get through here. How are we going to know which of these two is shaded? Assuming that it's not both of them. I mean, if it's both of them, this comes down through here. If we need this to be unshaded for some reason. If this needs to be shaded for some reason, then how would we ever know which of these is unshaded? We wouldn't. So again, by uniqueness, I know that this is going to be unshaded. So what is going to force that to be the case? If all of this is blocked off, that would be the case. Wow, this is a surprising stumper. And I think I could get out of it by using uniqueness, but that really feels like a cheat. There's something about this pattern. Maybe it's this 3? What happens if I don't include this one? Maybe that will do something. If I did that, that's going to force this unshaded. I better do trial just so this is what I'm assuming. Okay. So that forces this out here, down here, forces this down this way, and That really seems fine. Yeah, I was hoping to say, oh, this is going to have to be shaded, which will unshade all of these things and do some knock-on stuff. I mean, maybe I can. Maybe we do the trial the other way. Maybe that is what we assume. So if that's shaded, that gives us a lot down here, which closes that off. And I mean, how would we ever know which of those two is shaded if that's the case? It would have to come from this 3. We don't even know we have to come through here. Oh, we do. We do know that because we can't get through this gap and we can't get through this gap. Is that what it is? Maybe it's this cell. This cell that's critical. Okay. If we assume that this is shaded, does that cause a problem? Because now we can't get through here. We have to get through here. Although we thought that was the case anyway because of this. That is going to force this around that way. It forces that. I mean, that really seems like what's going to happen. So, is there a reason that that can't be unshaded? I mean, is there a reason that we can't have a path through here is really what I'm saying. If we have a path through here, so it doesn't force all this stuff, then this has to be so we're really assuming both of these things. We get this. Oh, okay. All right, there it is. Wow. Why couldn't I see that? Okay. We know from these ones, and you know this, if you've been watching this, this 2 can't all be on one side or the other side. It's got to be one on each side. And because of that, these 2 and those 2 aren't shaded. So this is like an exploded version of the 1-3 pattern that just took me forever to see. But once we have that, then these become shaded. Here, we can't have this unshaded because it would need to escape through there. Same thing here. That becomes unshaded. We finally finished that left side. And now we are maybe rolling again. We know we can't get through here. So to reach all of these, we have to come through here at the bottom. We have to squeak through there, which gives us this 3. And we have this 3 done. We have to squeak through here, which resolves this one we were talking about a long time ago. This has to come through here to meet up with this one. Oh, what a relief. Okay, apologies for people who have been screaming about that. But we're good now. Okay, this 2... Could it be these 2? Yeah, probably. We don't have the same thing going on vertically because of this being a 2, not a 1. But these, so it could be these 2, it could be these 2, or these 2. These 2 is a problem because then that closes off our gap from this area to this area. So that makes this unshaded. Yeah. Okay, so that forces this to be shaded. One of these 2, don't know which yet. One of these 2. This has to come up through there. And we can either connect right there and up here, probably. Oh, please don't tell me I'm stuck again. One of these two is shaded. We've got... Oh, well, this 3, because we now have shaded this, we can't block this off. So that shades both of those. There it is. And then this 2 gives me those. And then this has to be unshaded to connect everything. Oh, big sigh of relief. Okay. I'm not completely... This isn't a write-off. One of these two is shaded, which blocks this, so we have to pass up through this direction to get to the... Well, do we have to get up there? I'm just doubting myself for a moment. We can't get through here. We also can't get through here. Maybe that isn't a deduction I can make. From here to connect, we can't go up through the top. We have to go through the bottom. Actually, that's what I needed to say. So that becomes shaded. This the unshaded has to be there so it can connect. So therefore it goes here, which finishes off this 3. This connects down this way. Oh boy, big sigh of relief. And eventually, that is how you solve a creek.